And that's a perfect time to loop in our meteorologist, Kit Thomas, because Kit, of course, we've been seeing a lot of rain. And I know previously we've been seeing flash floods and other risk as well. So I know that's a very big deal for a lot of homeowners in our area.
And one of the weird things of this setup we've had for the last week, we'll say, is we've been in a drought through the winter. And you would think that if we get all the rain, we'd be fine. Why are we having flooding?
Right.
It's kind of like a dry sponge that's been sitting on the counter for a couple days because you haven't done the dishes.
Right.
Hi.
Guilty.
The drives, you've got to put it under the water and massage it for a bit for it to actually absorb water. That's happened with our soil. So since it's hard, dry sponge soil, it's compacted. There's no room for the water to absorb in. So we see more flooding in this kind of situation.
Wow. Leave it to Kit to educate us about all of the things we need to know about flooding and what could come from that.
It's the guilty conscience because I know my husband wants me to do the dishes. Anyway, let's take a look at the forecast here as we're looking outside this evening in East Memphis. A few showers still lingering around the area, but everything is starting to quiet down for us. But the next impact is going to be colder temperatures, believe it or not. We are clearing out here pretty soon, but the next weather maker is just a cold front that's going to drop those temperatures down very, very quickly into the 50s for a little bit. So we'll have to keep that in mind because, of course, those temperatures dropping down into the 30s, maybe even the 20s for us. My clicker isn't working. Give me just 1 second. With those temperatures dropping down as chilly as they are, that could lead to some of our temperatures getting to the risk for some early plants. If you're a gardener like I am, we've started to plant some things in the garden. We started to buy some things to put in the garden. The big drop in our temperatures next week may pose a risk for those. So if you haven't put them in the ground yet, or if you can keep them inside, you can keep them under a cover, that's going to protect them from frost. But as we look at those temperatures Monday morning, we're dropping down into the sub-freezing range off to the north. We're in the frost range here in Memphis. But Tuesday morning, that's when we could see maybe a little more of a widespread hard freeze. Whenever we get below 28, that's considered a hard freeze. And that's going to be across parts of western Tennessee here. Maybe Memphis hangs on to just a little bit warmer temperatures. But we're still within the time that we can still see the average last freeze. The average last is March 18th. The latest we've seen is in mid-April, so it's still within the realm of possibilities. We're not fully in spring weather just yet. Look at the temperature right now at 52 here in Memphis. We're cool, but all of the heat and energy for thunderstorms is still focused to the south. That's where we've got several tornado warnings north of Lake Pontchartrain into the Hattiesburg area there. Meanwhile, here in Memphis, we just have some nice showers across northern Mississippi. Everything's starting to wrap up here right on the back edge of this system. As we go through the forecast here, of course, that risk is to our south. We just have the cold north wind coming in on the east side of this high pressure that brings in the northern cool air. Then as it switches to the west, we'll see the southern wind bringing us warm air. So Friday, Saturday, we're going to be much warmer. Temperatures are feeling a lot better. We also have a weak warm front developing, and that's going to help our temperatures both Saturday and Sunday warming up very quickly. Now, through the day Sunday will be warm, but another cold front is coming in the evening, and that's going to push in as we head past dark, and that's going to bring in our next chance of rain. This is the next big thing that's going to change. Ignore this. We're not going to get anywhere close to any snow, so don't worry about that. We're pretty much done for that for the year. Let's take a look at your 7-day, though. As we're looking at temperatures dipping down tomorrow, then we ease back up. We're kind of in this sawtooth up and down over the next several days this weekend and into early next week, and then probably another time next week. As we get into the springtime and this pattern that we've got, we're going to see a couple more cold fronts, but ahead of that we'll warm up and another cold front will knock us right back down. Looks like that'll hold true for the next week and a half.